This week we are at my favorite event of the year, the original Miami Beach Antique Show, where we display every year an edition with dozens of jewelry, watch dealers, and antiquities dealers. It's my favorite event. Let's go see what's going on. It is approximately 45 minutes into the show, and I'm making my very first buy because we do a lot of selling, but we also do a lot of buying at this show. We have an 1803. The serial was like early 70s, if I recall correctly.
Like 74.
So early date in yellow gold with a John Buckley dial, the famous TikToker. He named a dial after himself, but it is painted Roman numerals. Really nice condition watch, strong case.
Spanish date wheel.
Spanish date wheel, strong lume plots. Really nice bracelet, not too loose. So the day's off to a good start. Good to see you, brother.
What's up, home?
We have Alessandro here, although
all the way from Milan.
Milan, Mr. A on Instagram, give him a follow. He just bought from us a lovely 1601 plastic crystal date chest with a black gilt dial that it is age tropical.
Amazing.
Really, honestly, stunning watch, you know, and for the price point, like something truly unique.
$1,200.
$1,200.
How good is that, huh?
Beautiful watch, congratulations. I have something else to show you.
Please.
Hold on. So this is a customized ladies. You love this stuff. You've been pioneering it. It is a Rolex made in white gold and lapis. And it was not made by Rolex. It was customized. It has a white gold Rolex buckle on it. But something interesting and unique, not crazy expensive. I feel like if that was factory, what would it be? $50,000?
Unpriceable.
Unpriceable.
Yes.
Right.
It will be unique. And the cool thing about these kind of watches, you can really style them and make them your own. And you're the only one really out there having it, so.
This is probably done when you think, in like the 80s somebody made that custom? You know these better than me.
Late 70s or
Right.
80s, something like this.
Yeah.
Should have some hallmarks. But they probably...
The buckle has the hallmarks here.
Yeah, but the buckles...
Buckle's Rolex. Buckle's genuine Rolex.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But maybe they just added the lapis, huh?
It's possible. I don't know. You would know more about those than I would, you know? I know you've been getting into all these quirky 70s and 80s watches, the Piagets, the Chopards of the world.
Yeah, I think
you know?
for us, there's been a whole generation of young guys that are kind of bored of the usual Rolex, Submariner, GMT, and so we all gravitated towards what were more affordable. Now they're starting to go up in price as everything.
Well, let's put the cards on the table. It's a ladies' watch that now men are wearing.
Yes. But also because men today don't feel the need to have a massive watch. Like, you know, you're a young, cool guy. You can have a smaller and more elegant watch.
We've been talking about how smaller watches are making a comeback. Well, think it over. Maybe you'll buy it.
Maybe I will.
We got 5 days. So we are standing here with my good friend Enrique, who is Ottaviano on Instagram. Give him a follow. How are you, my friend?
Good, brother. How goes there?
Want to see something?
Yes. Can you show me this?
Dude, that's one of my favorite watches actually here.
It's a sleeper.
It is a sleeper in a myriad of other watches. This is a 1940s Rolex Precision, oversized, reference 8029, so it's 37 millimeters. The cool thing about this one, though, it is one of the only ones I've seen or can find that is co-signed Serpico and Lino, retail out of Caracas, Venezuela. Also signed SNL Acero meaning steel, as you know. Yeah, so there's one that I found through Antiquorum that was a Serpico and Lino case, but no Serpico and Lino dial. That sold several years ago.
Entire coronet in the case back.
Everything, yeah. Unpolished, original dial, like nice patina, completely honest piece, like
Love that
fresh.
cream color.
Yeah,
like ivory.
Super cool watch, and like something from an era that's not as popular. It's not sports Rolex, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
And great size, 37 millimeters. Beautiful watch. Do you see how thin this engraving is? So a lot of them got worn off or polished off by accident. So it's not necessarily that if it has an SNL dial, it wasn't worn together, but it's always really comforting to have that on the back, so you know for a fact it was worn together.
So if you see an SNL dial,
right,
serial engraving still on the case back,
right,
but not SNL stamped.
Then it's probably, but like depending on the watch, like some of them were like very faint, and some of them were like right here against the edge, depending on the watch, not like prominently in the middle, because if they're polishing the case back, while having the engraving here above the serial is going to protect it more, because then they're going to be careful not to polish the serial number. But if it's like at the edge of the case back, which a lot of them are,
exactly,
it's a lot. Sometimes it could go, you know. Yeah. So gold ones are easier because it's just like a giant hallmark, like I said. So those don't really get polished down as much.
Yeah.
It's really the steel ones that you just have to kind of keep an eye out for.
Love it.
And sometimes you got to loop them, like really strong just to make sure
never
you can
been
see it
touched.
faintly. This one's never been touched. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, Adam, good to see you. Happy New Year.
You too, man.
Yeah.
Let's pull them all out. Okay, let's start with little time only brigade.
Yeah, that's unpolished. I have a box for it actually,
Okay.
and I just serviced it for like $400. I would take 6.5.
I don't want to do a negotiation video on camera. I hate that shit. 5.5?
I could do 6 for you.
All right, let's put it to the side for a
Yeah.
second. Let's see what else we got.
Yep.
Care about this one. I like this one.
Okay.
Dude, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
completely honest with you.
Yeah.
I have zero clue the value of these watches.
Sure. It's listed on my site right now for
Yeah.
6.6. That one's still sitting right now, but it's not been sitting long.
Any cracks?
Nothing that I see. So I was asking 4.8 for that.
I had to take a shot. 4.5.
4.5?
Yeah, take a shot.
Sold.
I think it's cool.
I'm asking 17 on that. That's a 1988 single quick.
It's not like that. It's like such a crazy price. I have this exact same watch
Yeah.
with papers that I paid like 18 for coming in.
Okay.
So it just doesn't make sense.
Where would you need to be on it? I'm just curious.
For me to stock it, it's got to be less. Put this over a second.
Yep.
We have a very cool 1980s, I would say.
Yeah.
Adam Piguet,
Well, I think
perpetual.
it might be 90s actually.
Maybe 90s. Yeah.
Breguet numeral.
Another
It's
watch.
Edward Piguet.
Say it for us in French. Quantum, because you always make fun of me that I mispronounce it. Cupid. I know, but I like it. Quantum. Quantum. Perpetual. How much is this?
19.5.
It's the value is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like perpetual solid gold, nice size case.
It's rose gold too. You don't see the rose ones very often.
It's a beautiful watch. Like somebody
Cool.
whoever buys
I figured
this,
you'd like it.
super value.
Yeah.
Super value. How much is the
The Kermit,
Kermit.
I'm asking 13.9.
It's crazy how much these have come
it's full
down.
set. GMT, I'm asking 21.5.
It's just so tough without a bracelet. They're just so tough to move. 16718?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And there was a bracelet for sale for like $8,000 in the chat. But then my cost is $29.5. Then what do you sell it for?
It doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
No, there's not enough room, I
Yeah,
think,
there's not enough
if
room.
you're adding the bracelet.
Yeah, because I just bought this one, 16808, black nipple dial,
Beautiful.
really solid case, service card from Rolex, and I paid $27.5.
Yeah.
I want to say.
That's a
you
good
know?
price.
So right, it's just to pay $6,000 less for a non-nipple GMT. It's,
I think that's more attractive.
yeah.
This is the craziest thing I brought today. That is a fossil dial in a ladies, which, from my understanding, is the only one known so far.
No, I feel like I've seen a couple.
I saw one in a
Ladies
two-tone.
pieces, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm doing more research. I want to.
How much is the Gento?
I'm asking 7.5.
So we have single retro Gerald Genta, mother of pearl dial. So this functions as like a
mother of pearl.
guilloche mother of pearl. Functions as like a jump hour with a date at the bottom.
Yeah, and a retrograde minute.
You do 10 for the pair of these.
We were at 4.8, and you wanted this for 5.
We agreed at 4 or 5 of this.
4 or 5? Okay, and then you want that for 5, or you want
No,
this for?
the Breguet.
Okay.
I'm not going to go from 7.5 to 5. I know you don't have that kind of room.
I mean, look, I'm into this for 6.5. That's where I am.
Yeah, I hear you. We all take losses.
I mean, do you want this at a cheaper price?
How much cheaper?
I could do 7K on it.
I don't think it's cheap enough. But I guess I'll stick to the Piaget. I mean, listen.
And I'm
try
asking-
to move them, and if you can, come back.
I can come
like
back.
I'm not. I don't mind if you go and show other people. I'm not one of those people like, oh my god, if you don't sell them to me right now, I won't take them.
Yeah.
Try to get your money that you're getting out. Like, I get it,
I
you know.
appreciate it.
And if not, maybe we can work something out. That's super cool, but like I just don't do enough ladies to like really, you know.
I'm gonna shoot for the moon on this thing, I think, and just see what I can do.
Out of
But
curiosity, what are you gonna ask for?
I'm gonna ask 13.9. Seems
I
about
mean,
right.
listen though, if you can't find another one, like
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
put this in the safe.
Yeah.
Come back later if you want us. I'll give you a check at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, and if you want me to add any of these, great. If
Sure.
not, perfect.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother.
It's good to see you.
Oh my God, is that YouTube celebrity Adam Menta? Oh my God. Dude, I like watch you all the time. How's the show going so far?
So far, so good. We sold a few things. I bought a few things. And it's Thursday. Usually, it's really busy on Saturday, Sunday. So
There's a watch I am considering from Sasha and Roy, that tourbillon, but I want to wait till the end of the show, see if we can sell it.
which watch?
The little tourbillon with the diamonds.
It's my watch.
It's your watch.
We own it together.
Okay. What are you into for? 50?
6.
Okay, so I told them, I said, I'll consider like trading out for something. They already bought something for me, but I want to keep that separate.
Probably do like Neiman swap.
For what?
The 2 watches you sold to them.
No, I want to keep that separate. Because they were also interested in the Mickey Mouse and the Donald Duck. and stuff like that.
Well, let's make a deal.
You just offered me 50 grand for both of those watches.
Okay,
How can
so-
I even negotiate with you?
So what are we asking here?
Full set,
Yes.
$53.96, $52.96.
Yes.
Just papers, no box.
Okay.
Okay. For the pair,
Yes.
absolutely zero negotiation. Like one price, you take it or you leave it.
Okay.
$62,000.
That number, let's discuss.
Right.
I was 100% sold at like 35, which
Of
Jordan,
course
which
you
Jordan,
were.
which Jordan,
Of course
which Jordan
you
was
were.
like, I think I'll take that.
No, of course you were. I would be
I'm
too.
I'm not trying to lowball you.
But you are.
Adam, do I really lowball you?
Yes.
How many times
We
have I
love
even
you.
had?
We love you all the same, but yes, you do. Like this guy, he's like the worst.
Yeah, that's why I like him.
Right.
Let's talk about it. I'm interested in
Think about
both.
it. Yeah,
I will happily.
But that's like literally me
No.
selling them one at cost, one with a small profit. That's it. You know.
I want
So
you to.
it's- No, Lilman, you're my homie. I don't care. I'm just saying, like, that's like, I'm not going to negotiate with my friend with you, know? Like, that's me giving you the best humanly priced possible.
And I'm
That's
telling
that.
you, I actually wasn't trying to lowball you for once.
For no, I'm just kidding with you.
Roy Davidoff,
Hi, Mike.
I'd like to see the 3 most interesting watches you have for sale here at Ombas.
So first, I'm going to show you probably less than half a dozen made. This is a skeleton perpetual Vacheron, same base that was used on the 222, 3700, 5402, except skeleton, perpetual counter, and a little string of diamonds.
Beautiful.
This is what makes it quite unique.
Yes.
Then we have probably my favorite Calatrava, the AMAG from Patek Philippe. This is fortunately not a first generation, but still, I really, really like these watches. Waterproof case, stainless steel, and magnetic movement. This is what watches are all about. And the third one this is Gus Grissom's. Fortunately, he passed away by the time he received it. The Speedmaster he got, and his widow received in November of 1969.
Wow.
This is number 4 from less than 3 dozen made for astronauts. And then there was a run about 1,000 of them that were made. This is the first generation piece. It has all the markings. If you can zoom in here, you can see he was part of Mercury 4, Gemini 3, Virgil I, also known as Gus Grissom, and beautiful patina.
And you literally wrote the book on Speedmasters.
Well, we wrote one of the books on Speedmaster.
You wrote one of the books on Speedmasters. You are a Speedmaster scholar. Do you have pricing estimates or how much are you asking for these things?
So basically, for the AMAG at $90,000, Vacheron we're at $71,000.
71,000.
And for the Gold Speedmaster, we're at $425,000.
Damn. All
Yep.
right. Roy, thank you very much for showing me.
You're very welcome. Sweet honey bears.
October, Mr. November, Mr. December from Bear Magazine.
I'm of the year. Yeah.
Davidoff 1, 2, 3, and 4.
So I see you got some new old inventory.
Yeah, I got stuff. I just need to basically stuff that was in my own personal collection that I want to get rid of, and one or two things I just picked up. So we have this Lejour chronograph, basically the Top Gun watch.
Super cool. You can see the original PVD wearing off.
Yes.
And you can even see, it's really nice.
This was like, yeah.
Nice, the loom got a really nice color. And it does the Speedmaster effect where the loom turns actually black in the hands. It's really, really cool. Nice Day automatic chronograph. What else you got?
This is kind of one I wear when I'm just bumping around the house. I don't even know if it's for sale. I just have it. It's an ultra tropical Seamaster from the 50s.
So there's a little interesting thing that I talk about with my friends regarding this watch exactly, is that usually called Explorer dials, even though you have the 12, the 36912 dial. But with the center seconds is actually my favorite configuration of this model. This Seamaster is really cool because you have actually the big logo when they were still playing around with the proportions on the back. But I really love it because you have the lugs that pop out a little bit. You can see this watch is unpolished. Nothing much to say about it. Love the bracelet. What else do you have?
This is cool.
Oh, I know that.
You also have one. This is a mother of pearl guilloche brigade tourbillon. Diamond set, obviously. Even diamonds on the clasp.
Great thing with this watch is that it still uses the original architecture from Daniel Roth that came up with the modern brigade tourbillon.
It's a cool one. I know you have one too. So
Yeah.
not for sale until he sells his. Not at his booth anyway.
Then what else?
This is a cool Gallet Multichron Excelsior Park movement.
So we're talking about Valjus and 321s from Lemania, but one of the cooler chronograph movements, actually from a brand called Excelsior Park, also called the EP. Anyways, great watch, great configuration.
This is interesting. We might have to grab him to explain this one.
Zero chance.
Yes, I don't need anyone. I love this watch. Ebel and Zenith were part of the same group company for a little bit. So a lot of the 911s, Ebels, actually were with Zenith movements back in the day. And this one feels quite hefty. It's in platinum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. The blue dial, the Breguet numerals, the Breguet hands. This is quite a rare little piece. You have the Guilloche dial, mother of pearl sub counters. That's cool, and I know a lot of people are big fans, and they're coming back up.
There's a few dealers really pushing them heavy. It's your enthusiast watch.
Yeah, 100%.
This is a geezer watch, we would call it.
The bracelet is like a bullet style. It's fantastic.
The reason we're selling it is because the owner doesn't want to cut the bracelet. It won't fit him. It's way too big.
Let me see if it fits me.
Yeah. Fits?
Missing.
At least you can put a little ladder on. My friend, it falls off his wrist. It's cool though. They're pretty hard to find. There's another more square-like one. This one's cool because the bracelet looks a little bit more integrated.
I love the like a rounded step case.
Yes,
with
very
it shaped.
cool.
It's like an ellipse, basically. It's part of the ellipse family. But what they did is that they designed really odd shapes around it. They made double bezel ones. They made rectangular ones with the ellipse and the dial. This collection is quite nice and emphatic. It's very recognizable now.
Yep. And then this I just picked up at the show. The first 5 minutes I was here, a 1960s, probably 1965 Cartier Benoit, all original, all the backwind, French hallmarks, engravings. Got the winder right there. Very iconic watch. And you know, in the 60s, the number of watches produced by Cartier before the 70s is infinitesimal. They made a couple thousand watches a year from the 20s to the 60s, and you know, so that's why it's very, very hard. You find a lot of stuff from the 70s, late 70s, when it comes to Cartier. Before that, it becomes much, much, much more difficult to find, especially in its original state.
What I love with this is that not many people know, but the Cartier was the first brand to offer deployment buckles. So it's really nice to find the original ones, and they haven't changed the technology too much. I know they just did actually now. They added like pushers.
Yeah.
But for years, this was exactly what you found for everybody.
That was invented by Louis Cartier.
Yeah. And the nice thing with this is that it's the same proportions you see the new Bangle one.
Yes.
Which I really love as well.
Yeah, these are very. I mean, usually hype is seen as a negative connotations, but these are getting very, very hype right now. I have a lot of calls for these, especially one of this rarity. You know, they kind of
the background are unfindable.
Yes. That's it. That's everything I got right now.
Thanks.
You haven't lived until you had to like walk this entire show, which is enormous, for 5 days straight. And then you sit on one of these and you're like, oh my God, this is magical. This is majestic. It's very comfortable. All right, let me park my chariot.
I sent it to Switzerland. They had it in Switzerland. I sent it back to them. Appreciate it.
What?
I got theirs.
Did Rolex send you this box?
That's from
I don't
Rolex.
think-
This is from Geneva, Switzerland.
I don't think I've ever seen that. Like this styrofoam box.
This is from them. That's the watch. It's all original. It's a 5508. There's the letters and everything confirming this original. Are you interested?
I mean,
serial number?
it's a refinished dial.
That's exactly an original watch. You tell me. Here it says in English, model number, serial number, and what they wrote about it. It is a genuine Swiss.
I'm not saying
origin.
it's not a genuine watch. I'm just saying, but the dial has been refinished. It's been repainted.
Here's the thing. They looked at it. They got it. Everything. And see, I know. And you tell me, I've had 3-4 people that know this is not the dial. Tell that to Rolex. They had it in their office. They had it in Geneva, not New York, not that.
The dial's original on this?
The whole
Where?
watch is original.
But where do they say that?
The watch is all original.
No. There's zero. Listen, I will.
Well, okay.
I'm not trying to be rude, but I'll bet you every single watch I own right here.
That's what I
this is
asked
not
them. I
an original
said,
dial.
I said,
And
okay,
you
so-
know your watch. You've been doing this a long time.
I
Like,
said, is this watch all original? They say yes. When I sent it to them, it was like that.
there's no. First of all, like right off the bat, there's no Swiss designation. Fine.
Yeah, I know.
But it's literally been like drawn by crayon. Like.
I know it's that, and then here's
Come on.
here's the paper.
Come on.
It's in writing.
Come
This
on.
is not me. Here's the date. 2004. I just didn't say
Okay,
that.
so they're saying this letter is only saying that they're refusing to restore it. Okay.
But it says a Swiss origin.
Swiss origin, but that's not saying it's all original. The case movement, I'm sure it's all original.
You know, the first thing they
But
pick
that's-
on is they say,
wait,
this
wait.
watch is not the real case, not the real dial.
That's fine. I'm not saying, my point is that they probably say the case is original, which it is,
But they
the
didn't say that.
dial's not original.
I know.
The insert's not original.
I asked him, I
The
said-
bezel's not original.
I asked him, I said, is this...
Nah,
what?
that's not what that letter says. The letter is just saying they're
They'll
refusing
knock
to
it
certify.
down. They'll knock it down.
We certified the goods are of Swiss origin. Origin, but that doesn't mean it has
Swiss
to be.
goods.
Okay, but
I know.
you're misinterpreting the letter. Come on.
But I
You know
talked
you
to them, I
are.
talked to them. Back in 2004, I said, okay, so the watch is all
Yeah, but that's
original.
not what this letter says. The letter just says that this was a Swiss product. It's a genuine Rolex, but it's not all original. There's a difference between being genuine and all original. Come on. I've been selling watches a long time. You
Look,
know. Thank you for showing me. Interesting story, but not for me. I will buy your GMT. We are getting from the same gentleman a lovely Mark II 1675 with incredible pumpkin patina. Really nice watch, which is all original.
Well,
Thank you, sir.
So this is the IWC IW 3755 in white ceramic. Only 20 to 30 pieces were ever made, and it was the first ceramic wristwatch that came out in 1986. It's contested with Rado, but Rado's is also black, so the white ceramic definitely the absolute first. It is a chronograph perpetual calendar. The perpetual calendar module has 82 components. It was designed by Kurt Klaus in 1985. It is iconic for IWC because it's a staple of their ceramic usage today as well. But you will probably never see another one in person.
Try it on.
On anybody else. Looks good on you.
It does.
So, and these are the special watches that we like to bring to the Miami Beach Antique Show because these are watches that you can't really capture the magic of on pictures, and you really have to see in person.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen it on your website, but you're right. That's why I was interested to see it in reality.
Remember always, cash only. I have a t-shirt made just for you.
posted one on Instagram.
Okay, so our friend Tarek from Momentum Dubai, you might have seen on a prior video, is here, and he asked us to display this watch, which is absolutely crazy. What stone is this?
It's sodalite.
Sodalite. I'm like used to sodalite looking completely different than this. I've never seen like a cut like this.
Yeah, it's very black spotted.
Yeah, I thought it had to be something else.
No, it's super cool.
So what is it? 18239?
18039. And the dial is 100% correct, even if it's Swiss made. Correct for 18039. I have it on a screenshot from the Rolex system. And this is actually.
How does one get a screenshot from Rolex's own system? Ah! A wink and a nod.
I know you don't like my watchmaker, but he's good.
He's good.
So the cool thing about this is the only white gold stone dial day date you'll find at this price.
What's the price?
50K.
Oh,
With papers.
wow. I was expecting a bit more than that.
No, 50,000. The
Okay.
watch is nice.
Cool.
I have the papers.
All right, we'll put it in the case. Put it
Okay.
with the other stone dials. Good to see you, brother.
Adam, good to see
we
you, pal.
have, what is it, Skip's Likes Vintage on Instagram?
Skip likes vintage, that's me.
Skip is the private curator for private sales over at Sotheby's Watch Department in New York City, doing a fantastic job curating some awesome stuff. What can I show you today?
Well, I was interested in this platinum tank normal here. It looks like the new one.
So that's the new guy. So I'm sure you know these were made in 100 pieces in platinum, 100 pieces in yellow gold.
Yeah.
Brand new. Client just got it from Cartier. He doesn't love it. He wasn't like trying to flip it to make money or anything like that because they're going significantly over retail. Did you guys sell the last one? Who's Philip sold one recently?
They sold a Pebble recently. I don't know
No,
if they've had a
there was a platinum normal, I think, in the last Philip sale. Sold all in a little over 100 grand. He wants to get a little less than that. So I would say talk to your client and tell him to expect to pay around what the last one sold for in auction.
Yeah.
And if he's interested in that level, then I could send it to you guys in New York. You can show it to him, etc. So it's brand new. You know, he tried it on. Obviously, he wore it maybe once around the house. And was like, it's not for me. So it still has like all the stickers.
This is the first time
he's,
I've
he's
had
a steel guy. He's like,
Yeah.
it's too heavy. It's
Yeah.
too small. You know. So. Yeah, but tell your
So the series, does that include the ones that were offered on a strap as well as bracelets?
No.
Or
100 on bracelet in yellow, 100 on bracelet in platinum. I don't know if the strap ones are limited or the amount. To be honest with you, I think if you buy this watch, you have to buy it on bracelet if you can get it. The strap ones are cool, but the bracelet is something that Cartier never does. And I heard that if you wanted them to make you a bracelet like this, Now, the retail price on this watch is like $55,000.
Yeah.
If you wanted them to make you a bracelet similar to this, they're going to charge you $40,000 or more just for a bracelet like this.
I had a friend
So it
get a
makes-
quote recently for a bracelet on his guichet,
Right.
Which is also cased in platinum, and they quoted him 6 figures for the bracelet.
Six
Yeah.
figures.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like this watch retail is 55 with the bracelet. So
Yeah,
I mean-
their argument was that they needed to build the tooling in order to manufacture the bracelet.
you mean they don't have
so it's
already
literally-
the processes in place?
No,
Come
it
on.
would be the R&D costs of
Right.
making the bracelet. So you want to be the second person to buy that bracelet.
Right,
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, I mean, beautiful watch. I was supposed to get one for myself. Unfortunately, I didn't.
Yeah.
They wouldn't allocate me one. I did get a beautiful Centre in platinum with a blue dial that the Davidoffs and I all bought together. They made us 4 pieces. So I'll maybe one day get something cool, but not the Tank Normal, but beautiful watch. Aquastar Deep Star.
Excellent.
Very cool dive watch from the 70s. Big eye configuration. And I think the cool thing about this one is that they're just really hard to find in this condition. Really nice style, nice lume, nice case. And now it's yours, sir.
Excellent, man. I'm
You
excited.
need a loop or anything?
Thank you so much. I mean, I trust you. I mean, I'll take a loop just to look at it, though. Perfect
Yeah, listen,
amount of
I mean,
patina.
that watch used to be a 7-8K watch. You're getting it for a fair bit less, you
Yeah.
know, so it has some celebrity provenance.
Now it's got even more celebrity
Exactly.
provenance.
It's yours now.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
It's
Thank
your
you so
celeb.
much, bud.
This is a circa 62, 63, reference 1675 GMT Master with a chaptering exclamation dial, gilt dial. Always have to look out on these gilt dials, like the condition of the dial. It's really hard to tell from photographs because they're so reflective. A lot of times what you think is mint, when you look closely at it, will have like a scratch or a mark on it, and inspecting these in person is like second to none. You have to do it. A really nice watch. PCG case, sharp case. It's not for sale, so
The Jasper, I can't believe that's a move right there. Double wristing date. Oh, that's a date. I love this one.
I like one. Be like a rare. Condition's beautiful. Spillman case. It is a mono retroponte Beauvais from the 40s, so it's a flyback. So you could stop the chronograph, hit the bottom button, and then it jumps to where it should be. So actually a very complicated watch. Very hard to find, and very hard to find parts for the movement on this watch. I've gone down that road many a time. Very cool watch. You selling this? 7,500. If it was like 5, I would probably buy it, but 75, I just think that's like it's a price from yesterday. I thought maybe it'd be like 95. It would have a while ago. Yeah, beautiful watch. Kevin Odell, sir, come here, please. Okay, so I bought 2 watches. One of them you know about. Yep. Because you told me to buy it, or you told me to pay less, but I paid more anyways. You're going to sell it? Tell us about this.
Oh, yeah. So this is the Tank Cornice. And dated to 1934. So a very early example. So it has the Breguet hands, which Cartier calls apple hands for some reason.
Do they really?
Yeah, they call them apple hands. I don't really know why. A lot of people call this watch the Bec d'Aigle, which just means eagle beak because of the lugs. You see the lugs here like shaped like an eagle's beak. But it's actually called the Tank Cornice, which just means like angles, right? So it's like how the bezel sits up like that. So it's technically a Tank Cornice with Bec d'Aigle lugs. But it also is a backwinder, which is a La Coltra duoplan movement. Yep. So it gives the watch perfect symmetry. So
original
there's no
point too.
Yep. Deployment buckle as well. French hallmarks.
And so this watch, which is much more uncommon, which you know about, which you talked about, actually has the same dial as that.
Yep.
Well, same font style.
Well, they're the same. They're around the same era.
Same era, right.
This one we dated to 1929.
1929.
And this one's 1934.
Converted 1930. So this is a Bebe Guillotine.
Yeah.
It was originally a purse watch made in Cartier London, sent to Cartier Paris in 1930 to be converted. They estimated 30 pieces were converted in their ledger. Very, very rare watch. This one is the same watch Kevin and I figured out a mystery. It was actually sold in Antiquorum in 2006 for 53,000 Swiss francs at the time, which is like $75. A lot of money for a watch in 2006.
Yeah.
20 years ago, the market was very different.
But the thing is, though, is like, I think what a lot of people, they see Cartier kind of gaining some attention now.
A lot of attention.
But the thing is, though, is that these older Cartiers, the ones specifically from the EWC era, have always been really collectible since the 80s.
Right.
So it's funny to see people say records are being broken. Well, in some cases, not really.
Not really.
There were Tank Normals that were selling in the early 2000s for 15 grand.
Right.
And so people are like, wow, one sold for 25,000 the other day in auction. Well,
it's not such a big jump.
It's not really a
from
big
20 years
jump,
ago,
especially
yeah.
if you take inflation.
They've been expensive for a long time.
Yeah, and desirable for a long time.
By the way, I showed it to Auto, and he agreed on the movement. That it's
it's good. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So, yeah, stunning watch.
Super crazy.
What do you think?
I love it. My favorite part about this watch is actually the shutter part is what everybody goes for, right? Because they made purse watch like this. But my favorite part is just these lugs, because I've never seen any other Cartier watch with lugs like this, and it's almost similar to like the Patek Calatrava lugs.
Yeah.
Like think of
scroll lugs.
Yeah. I just love those lugs, and for the period, I mean, look how big it is. In comparison, this was an average size.
Oh, it's a small watch. I'm like, it's actually really big for the era.
Huge for the era.
Really, really big.
And it's probably just because that shutter mechanism. This was typically used for purse watches.
For sure.
They did slim it down for the wristwatch though, because the purse watches are quite a bit bigger than this. Yeah. But yeah, this is actually really big for the era. I mean, if you think
it reminds me of a Reverso. The same era.
Lug to lug is what, like 39?
I didn't measure it actually.
I bet it is.
Yeah, I didn't measure, but it reminds me of a Reverso, like a JLC Reverso.
It's even bigger. Yeah. It's even. I wish I brought one.
You should be careful. I have to get the pin tightened in the.
Okay. I just want to put it on my wrist and see like what the size really is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, look, that thing is.
You want to see another like
almost
incredible
across my
watch that I just got this morning?
Yeah.
You'll appreciate. So check this out. Vacheron Constantin, papers, original retailer box. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, cool box papers, right? What about the watch?
The box is particularly cool.
What's the price on the milk?
Rose gold, reference 4072, pulsations, two-tone dial, in the nicest condition I've ever seen in my life. I have a really important Newman in the safe that I just got. Just got that. This is the watch I've been waiting for. On the side of the case, just honestly like an unreal watch.
And pulsation style.
And pulsation style, and bracelet. Period, not VC, but period. No, everybody loves the pulsation style. Family, original owner, I'm not sure if it was the actual original person or the family, walks into a pawn shop in Argentina and was like, hey, I have this watch, and the pawn shop didn't know anything about it, so he sent it away. But he took pictures of the watch and sent it to a friend of mine. He's like, hey, would you be interested in this watch? I just walked in, I wasn't for me, I turned it away. And I was like, call him back right now. Call him back right now. Get him back in the store.
Look at this, man.
Incredible watch.
Wow.
And it looked yellow in the photos. It's rose.
Which makes sense for Argentina.
For sure.
Wide lugs, too. Was 20 millimeter lugs?
Yeah.
Wow.
If any
This is crazy.
potential,
Super crazy. Enameled signature.
It's untouched. The watch is, like, I've never seen anything like it in terms of a 4072.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know how long it's been sitting. It doesn't run. Least of my problems.
Did it show up in this bracelet?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they tried to keep the bracelet because they were going to melt it to try to make a little bit of extra money. I'm like, absolutely not.
Wow.
I'm like, if you really need, I'll pay you the melt weight. Don't melt the bracelet. But that's their mentality. That's their mentality. You know.
can I see? Sure.
Which melt weight is what? Like $1,500
bucks. Yeah, whatever.
Dude, this is crazy.
Yeah.
How much is it?
I don't know if I want to sell it.
You shouldn't sell it.
I've already had like 3 people like, how much, let me know. I'm like, I don't know, man, I don't know. Kind sir, you guys might remember Danny, owner of Mignonette and Blue Collar, 2 fabulous restaurants, institutions here in Miami. We shot with him.
Yep.
What'd you just get? What, show us.
My Grail. Solid gold Speedy with the green dial.
What are you calling this?
I've been trying to get it for about a year. The most beautiful watch I ever saw in my life.
So I traded quite a bit of watches to make it happen, but I'm glad you are happy with it.
So
It's
happy.
such a stunning watch.
It is nice.
This is Omega Speedmaster with a green dial, green bezel. They're Moonshine Gold that came out a couple years ago.
I couldn't
like
be more
it's like
happy.
very subtle too,
Yeah.
because the way they mix this gold, like all the technique they do and all the mixture that it is, it's very played down. It's like very subdued.
A lot of
It's
the
not-
brands look like a bit like more playful and sporty, and this is like more like elegant and like timeless and like.
Because it's more black, has like more black hues. It's dark. It's
They made it so it's not yellow, it's not pink, and they also make it so it like doesn't like shine as much.
It's made with moon dust too, from the moon, right? I told my kids when they were young, the moon is made out of cheese, and they're like, "How do you know?" I went there. They believed me. They told their kids.
No, my niece and nephew for the longest time actually thought I was a resident of Mars. My parents adopted me. And I would text them photos of like, see, this is me. I would Google image search, like Mars, you know, like whatever, and text them photos from Google image. Like, yeah, this is my house on Mars. You know, you Google house on Mars and pick out an image. And,
You know, my kids, I always told I went to the moon, and it's made out of cheese, and now I can show them the watch and be like,
see?
Of course I went to the moon, I have the moon watch.
Right, exactly.
Well, tell us about your Cartier.
This is the 50-piece made in 1990s, you know.
Great.
And this is the only 3 with a blue dial, you know. Special order by Italian collector in the 90s. Siragnoli, which is the
It's platinum, not white platinum. Yeah, 39 to 50.
You just see like what, and I was like, I have to football.
It's beautiful. Love the strap too, matching blue strap. It's very nice. Bag full of watches?
It sounds like this, but
It's the same story.
Jeez. It is a Piaget.
Early 70s.
Ladies dress watch.
Ladies dress watch with a ruby-like dial.
So the stone is called Rubelite. Massimo, how much are you asking for this watch? Ballpark. $20,000. I mean, I don't think this is a watch that you could find anywhere.
No, I sold one the same exactly. I had two in Davide's auction for €22 plus commission.
The only way to fetch that
Bulgari.
Oh yes.
What era is this from?
1960s.
With like
Onyx,
a wood?
Tix, white gold with the original deploy and buckle like Cartier, but signed
But this is wood.
What?
Yeah, the bezel's wood. Wow.
Oh yes.
I've never seen this before. It's from the 60s?
Oh yes. Me and Auro, as they say. Auro Montaner is the same watch. But I have this one, which is very rare. This is the deploy and side Bulgari, not Cartier.
It is. Signed Bulgari.
Oh yes.
That's super cool. I've never seen this before in my life.
Oh wow. It's a gold snowflake. Never saw it.
Integrated bracelet too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't recall ever seeing one in yellow gold.
I've never seen one in a bracelet like that.
Or in yellow gold. Usually they're steel.
I recall, I never saw the watch.
The one thing I hate about you and Sasha and Adam, the vintage guys in general, is that I come to you for advice and I say, Adam, what should we buy this for? And I will say, well, buy it anywhere from 60 to 70. It drives me up the fucking wall. Why not just say 65 or 63? You guys always give a range. Why?
It's like an auction house thing.
It's not, but I understand because you guys never have it. Like you ask me, hey, how much is a Rolex blah blah blah, an AP this, and I will pay 60. You should pay 62. You guys will say you should pay anywhere from 62 to 68.
What do you think, Sasha? Why do we always give a range instead of a fixed price?
Just because you want to give room to start at this offer and then work your way back up to it, or
the reason it drives me off the wall is because I'm the guy that's going to come to you and say I'm paying you 55. You can tell me 57, I'm going to say 55. You can tell me 56, I'm going to tell you 55. I just give a price. And I'll write you a check in 5 minutes. That's it.
not everybody works the same way.
It's a little different than that? Yeah.
People like to.
I know why. Because modern is so transparent. There's a market price, wholesale and retail, so it's a lot easier to do it. And the vintage, I understand what you're saying.
With modern watches, you're going to ask me 3 questions. What's the condition, like new, unworn, so I don't know, box papers, and then like what year is the card? Let's say those are like 3 main questions that you're going to get. With vintage, it's like 110. There's like 100 questions I can ask you.
That's why I befriended Adam 10 years ago, so I don't have to deal with that shit. The reason I did that is my fear is not to overpay. I'm never afraid to overpay. My biggest fear is I'm going to sell a client of mine something that, due to my knowledge, is f***ed up. Like, let's say I sell him a watch dial Patek and I don't know about it, like you guys do, because like we just looked at a Patek earlier with Sasha where the dial was slightly washed. That's not something I would have caught. And I would have sold it to a retail client as a good thing, and then somebody says something, and there goes my reputation. That's what scares me the most about it.
Sadly, towards the end of day 2 of the antique show, I came down with a really nasty cold and high fever and had to check out for most of the rest of the show on day 3 and day 4 as well. We were supposed to sit in on a great panel hosted by our friends at Hodinkee with Jeff Hess of Sotheby's, with Charlie Dunn of Win Vintage, and filling in for myself, Sasha Davidoff of the Davidoff Brothers. A lot of people asked us on Instagram if the panel would be recorded since they couldn't attend in person, so we were able to record some of the highlights for you guys to enjoy here now.
I'm Tony Trena. I'm an editor at Hodinkee, which is a watch website and publication. Alongside me, I've got Jeff Hess, who is head of watches for the Americas at Sotheby's Auction House. Charlie Dunn, who is a senior specialist at Win Vintage, a vintage watch dealer, and Sasha Davidoff, co-founder and a vintage watch specialist as well of the Davidoff Brothers. Thank you all for coming.
As more and more people start to buy watches for great reasons, because they're passionate about them, because they love them, I think that what we're going to see more and more in the coming year is collectors recognizing that the real beauty in watches, more than the watch itself, is the people. Somebody once said to me that you buy the story, you buy the narrative, you buy the relationships, the watch is just a bonus. So why I mention that now is what I think we're going to see a lot of, even in the coming year, is events, watch gatherings. So I won't answer the question with respect to a specific brand, but I will say I think you're going to see more and more people discovering the joy and the relationships that could be made by collecting watches. And with that, I think you're going to see more and more collector gatherings at events. There are all kinds of whispers now of big events being organized all throughout the coming year. And to me, that's enormously exciting and very, very healthy for the market. I'm going to answer the question without necessarily touching upon whether vintage Cartier is worth too much, not enough, just the right amount. I think it's fair to say that the watch world has experienced a bit of a downtrend in the last year. And as such, I think we're seeing more and more real collectors coming back to the market. People who are buying watches because they're passionate about them, because they love them, and they're buying them less for speculative reasons. So I mention that because along with that, we're seeing a greater desire to learn about watches. The person that's really passionate about watches isn't buying the Steel Sport hyped watch that they saw on Instagram. That person wants to take a deep dive into the watches that they're buying. They want to learn, they want to explore, they want to learn about the history and the different iterations and the evolution of a brand. And I think Cartier, in particular, lends itself beautifully for that. It's a fantastic exploration, the study of vintage Cartier and how here's a brand that dared to be different when others weren't. They created all these very unusual case shapes, the cintre, the cloche, the crash, the asymmetrique. You know, it lends itself very well for scholarship and not just, I saw it on Instagram, I gotta have it. So I think we're at a time in life where, a time in the community rather, where it's a great time to actually start exploring things that have great history. So I'm a big believer in it, irrespective of what the price may be at this moment.
Difficult because vintage Cartier is extremely vast, and I always say, like, when you open up your watch box, whatever the watches that you reach for, the same three always, those are the ones that you want to keep. The ones that are kind of like you haven't worn in a couple of years, no matter what the value is, I always kind of advise, like, if you're going to reduce or consolidate, that's the one that you go for. That's just kind of a general statement. I think right now vintage Cartier still has room to grow and expand. And I think that, like, depending on if it's an iconic model, important, an iconic model, I think that's a key because it's timeless and they don't change like every 6 months.
Can you help me define the iconic models of Cartier a little bit more?
Okay, so my brother and I have a running list of all the tanks that exist, and I think we're over 30 different type of just the tanks. The tank, cintre, anglaise, like all the main tank shapes, even the tank normal that was re-edited last year. And then kind of like there's that part, so like the kind of like iconic models, even the Crash now has become an icon. And then there's the other category of just like very weird, random, funky, cool watches. I think that those are the ones that are also kind of exciting people today.
I think it's twofold with respect to vintage Rolex, similar to that which I just explained vis-a-vis vintage Cartier. Getting into gilt dial Rolex requires a deep dive. It's an education. It is not a simple, oh, I saw it in a window and I grabbed it. To really understand the nuances of a gilt dial, the condition, the different iterations, the fonts on the dial and the way it's printed, that really requires taking a loop and really understanding. So you have to have a real understanding of gilt dials to really have a successful journey in that regard. So I'm a big fan in that respect because, again, it entails not just buying some hyped watch, it entails getting into the weeds. With that said, because we're coming out of a period where hyped watches, hyped Steel Sport watches sort of ruled the day and became to some extent such a material part of the hobby, I think a lot of these great iconic models like gilt Submariners, gilt GMTs, these watches sort of became ignored, and I will say they're incredibly undervalued now. The prices have pulled back meaningfully. You know, we're in an era where independent watches are really ruling the day, and a lot of the newer modern has been at the forefront. I have mixed confidence whether some of the independent watches we see have staying power 5, 10, 15 years from now. But I have certainty with huge confidence that 10, 20 years from now, somebody is going to want to buy an old vintage Submariner or an old vintage GMT. There's something to be said for watches being blue chip. They're iconic for a reason, and Rolex is Rolex for a reason. So I'm a big fan in that respect.
When prices are high, all of the most beautiful examples will come to market because people are like, oh wow, at that price I would sell. The issue is that like when the prices do kind of cool off, you're finding less of them on the market, which in itself is a mechanism that then kind of brings prices slowly back up. It kind of like the market shorts itself, or the supply. I think that it is a good time to buy a gilt-dial, vintage Rolex, whether it's a Sub, Explorer, any of that, kind of category, or a GMT. But again, do your homework and don't just buy it because it seems like a good time to buy it because it's cheap. Like, buy the best one you can find.
I am 54 years old, and I grew up a tremendous sports fan. My dad and I went to football and hockey games throughout my childhood. And I grew up watching the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. In the course of that experience, I grew to admire Coach Tom Landry from the Dallas Cowboys, was a legendary football coach. A little less relevant today because it's been some time, but he coached for the team for over 25 years, multiple Super Bowls, decades of championship seasons. And in the past year, I had the great pleasure of spending a day with his son, Tom Landry Jr., in Dallas, Texas, at his house, which is the equivalent to the Dallas Cowboys Museum. And he consigned his father's watch that he wore through multiple Super Bowls and championship games. And just being with him and having that experience and seeing all the fedoras that Tom Landry became known for wearing, and all the pictures of him wearing the watch on the sidelines, jumping up and down, holding his Super Bowl trophy, it really was a thrill. And it underscored for me that really the greatness of watch collecting, I think, lies more in the human element of the owner than the watch itself.
Thanks, Jeff. Charlie?
A little over a year ago, Eric and I looked in our email and we saw an outstanding Abercrombie & Fitch Seafarer Reference 346, which was just an eclectic watch. Something that when you see, you just want to try and secure it. I'm going to give the PG version of this. If you want the PG-13 version of the story, you can come and talk to me after the panel. But it involved me going to Washington to secure the watch. It was a very long and arduous kind of day of driving around and me sharing my location with Eric just to make sure he can recover my body or my phone just in case I showed up missing. But it was an incredible watch, and it was just one of those things that you find in its spectacular condition, and it belongs to a collector who's so thrilled with the watch.
Mr. Davidoff?
So as a vintage watch dealer, the terms that we love to hear are original owner, fresh to market, untouched, all original. And we had the miracle of finding last year a 5512 square crown guard. So that's the first Submariner to have a crown guard from the original owner locally in Geneva. And we were like kind of shaking when we saw this watch because how do you let that like leave your store? They had gotten an offer from somebody else before and we didn't know what it was. But we came in with our offer kind of blind, and they're like, wow, I would have taken, half that much. And we were like, oh, great, we would have probably paid twice as much. But we were very, very happy. They were happy. And our client, who's been looking for one that was unpolished and like all original and so on and so forth, was delighted to add it to his collection almost immediately after we found it. We were lucky enough to bring it to Rolleifest and show it to all the Rolex aficionados there, and then bring it back and deliver it to our client.
That about wraps it up for our coverage of the original Miami Beach Antique Show. We hope you guys enjoyed watching, and we hope you guys can attend sometime in the future. We're there every year. It's the best show in the country by far. As always, thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And next week, we'll have a very special video of a very special get-together that we host every year on the first Friday night of the Antique Show. We hope you guys enjoy watching it. Bye.